What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Fast. Today, let's get started with Jairzinho Rozenstruik issues statement on UFC release, says paint fumes contributed to loss. A few days after receiving his walking papers from the UFC, Jairzinho Rozenstruik has broken his silence. After a strong fight week, I felt dizzy on Saturday due to the paint fumes. Then, just 70 seconds into the fight, I injured my left foot. The moment my switch kick landed on his elbow, I felt it instantly and knew the fight would play out differently than planned. At the end of 2018, I signed my first contract with the UFC, embarking on an incredible journey. I've been honored to compete on the biggest stage, and I want to express my deepest gratitude to the UFC staff for their professionalism and support over the years. Thank you. From being Rookie of the Year to becoming an MMA veteran, this has been an unforgettable adventure. While this chapter closes, my story is far from over. I will continue to fight, take on new challenges, and settle unfinished business in the cage. I'm ready for whatever comes next. UFC champ Belal Muhammad explains why he's against training camps during Ramadan. UFC welterweight champion Belal Muhammad knows what it's like to go through a training camp during Ramadan. Muhammad most recently trained through Ramadan for a fight, when he took on Gilbert Burns at UFC 288 in May 2023. He won the 5-round fight by unanimous decision to become #1 contender. As Ramadan approaches in the first day of March, Muhammad will this time take the month to reflect, then gear up for his expected title defense against Shavkat Rakhmonov. March is Ramadan, so I have the whole month of Ramadan for myself, and then training in April, then fighting in May would be perfect. Muhammad explains why he no longer feels the need to fight during Ramadan. In the past, I think it was more so when you're chasing the belt. When you're trying to get there, you do anything possible to get to that point. So, I'm always going to say yes. For me now, it's like if I have a choice, obviously, I would rather not fight during Ramadan. Dominick Cruz announces retirement after latest injury. Former UFC bantamweight champion Dominick Cruz has announced his retirement from MMA. Cruz was supposed to fight Rob Font in the co-main event of UFC Seattle. However, it was revealed he suffered an injury on Wednesday, which forced him out of the bout. Now, a day later, Dominick Cruz took to social media to announce his retirement from MMA. To the fans worldwide, I have poured every ounce of myself into this sport for the last 25 years. I was really hopeful for one final fight, but unfortunately, 2 shoulder dislocations in 8 months calls an end to this guy's career. I gave everything I had and put it into preparation and training for this fight, focusing on my cardio and my body for the past year, but sometimes the body just doesn't cooperate. The pain isn't as bad now that my shoulder is back in place, but the second dislocation was far more complicated than the first. This sport has been everything to me. It's helped to shape who I am. Thank you to the UFC for building this platform and paving the way for fighters like myself and so many others. I am incredibly grateful to everyone who booked tickets, hotels, and flights to support me. Thank you all for being there through every moment, every victory, and every challenge. You've made this journey unforgettable. Thank you for the love and support. I will carry it with me always. Dricus du Plessis responded to Sean Strickland's statement about Alex Pereira. UFC champion Dricus du Plessis has responded to the rumor that Alex Pereira hates him, which stems from Sean Strickland saying that he harbors hate. This weekend, Pereira will be making an appearance in Australia in order to corner Sean Strickland against Dricus du Plessis. The two will compete for the UFC middleweight championship for the second time, with du Plessis coming out on top in their first altercation. Recently, Strickland did an interview in which he suggested that Pereira harbors hate, leading to many believing he meant for du Plessis. Now Dricus has given his thoughts on that. Pereira was also in the corner of Strickland in the last fight, and that doesn't make any difference to me. And the same applies to this one. I don't think he hates me. If he does, I don't know why. Maybe he doesn't like my face or my attitude, I don't know. We've never even spoken. I asked him for a picture, I think, once. I consider Alex an incredible fighter, one of the greatest that ever walked the planet Earth, one of the greatest combat athletes in history. But if he hates me, I don't care. I have enough friends already. Dana White issues open-ended answer to Alexander Volkanovski's future in the UFC. Alexander Volkanovski, the Australian powerhouse and former UFC featherweight champion, has long been a dominant force in the octagon. Known for his relentless fighting style and incredible resilience, Volkanovski has cemented his legacy as one of the greatest featherweights in UFC history. However, recent setbacks, including back-to-back losses against Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev, have left fans questioning what's next for the 36-year-old legend. UFC CEO Dana White recently addressed Volkanovski's future in the promotion with Mark Barris, offering an open-ended but respectful response. Volkanovski is a legend. I mean, if you look at what that guy has done in this sport and in that division, he's an absolute legend. I haven't talked to him about where his head is and, what he's thinking about the future, but when you talk about a guy like Volkanovski, he's done it all. He's an absolute legend. I don't know. It's just up to him. Michael Chandler absolutely not interested in BKFC. Don't expect Michael Chandler to use BKFC as a post-UFC career. Absolutely not. I think I've proven that I'm a tough guy. I think I can say absolutely not without risking people saying, this guy's soft. Just go type my name in on YouTube or on UFC Fight Pass, and you can see that I'm no softie. I think there's a certain brand of guy that goes there while you're still in your prime and able to compete at the highest level in mixed martial arts, and I'm not one of those guys. The former UFC title challenger assures that when he's ready to call it a career, his final fight will be in the octagon. I will hang up the gloves for the last time at some point under the UFC and never fight again. That will be the goal, and I will probably leave before people want me to leave, for sure. Right now, we're focused on the next fight, and we'll see what it is. Jon Jones reveals his next fight, and it's not against Tom Aspinall. UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones' recent announcement has nothing to do with fighting. While Jones had repeatedly shot down a future bout with Tom Aspinall leading into UFC 309, he changed his mind afterward. Speaking in his post-fight interview after beating Miocic, Jones stated that he would fight the Brit for the right price. Earlier this week, the UFC heavyweight champion took to social media. There, Jon Jones teased that he would be making a huge announcement in 24 hours. While many fans believed that the announcement would be a title unification with Tom Aspinall, they were wrong. Instead, Jones wants to bring the fight to American healthcare companies. This next fight for me is a personal one, but it's not just for me. It's arguably the most important fight of my career. My next opponent will be the American healthcare system. I'll be joining power to the patients to take on hospitals and health insurance companies that refuse to show us their prices. UFC fighter Lucas Alexander hospitalized due to paint fumes at UFC venue. UFC fighter Lucas Alexander has revealed he was hospitalized as a result of paint fumes at the UFC Saudi Arabia venue. Last weekend at UFC Saudi Arabia, Lucas Alexander stepped into the octagon to face Bogdan Grad. The result was Grad getting the finish via punches and elbows from Mount in the second round. However, there was actually a whole lot more to the story than that. On Saturday, we arrived at the locker rooms around 2 p.m., and there was a really strong smell of paint fumes with seemingly no air circulation throughout the room. The ones close to me know I suffer with severe sinus issues when it comes to different smells and seasonal allergies. For 3 hours, I felt dizzy, had low energy, and felt like I could fall asleep any minute. After the fight, I was taken to the hospital due to shortness of breath, and over the next several hours couldn't stop a runny nose, sneezing, couching, and wheezing. I have videos from hours after the fight where my voice is gone. My nose is stuffed closed and I felt sick. It's really disappointing to have my last fight on my contract go out like that, knowing I was not 100% myself due to reasons out of my control. But this is not the end. Thank you to the real fans who've been rocking with me from the jump.